Good afternoon, Cape Flats Stories. Trust you guys are well. With me in the studio, I've got a young lady and a mom. Her name is Leila. She recently launched her first book at the age of 12. And it's always nice to see our young people do good for themselves, and mummies that is in the background assisting them. So without any further ado, I want to introduce you to Leila and her mom. Welcome, Karen, and welcome, Leila. How are you guys doing?
Hello.
Hi, Stanley. Hello, listeners. Thank you for having us here.
On
We're
your pleasure.
Very honored to be here.
On your pleasure. Leila, you are the lady of the moment. Where did it start for you? You were only 12 years old when you published your first book. I remember I was 30. No, I was 42. So I was 30 years older than you when I wrote my first book. But I'm very proud of you for taking the step. And I think it's important for mom to grow that dream as well. So where did it start for you?
Well, it started when my grandmother passed away. And it was 2 years ago. Am I right? It was about 2 years ago. And it was a memorial. And I didn't really want to go to my mommy because I thought my mommy was going through a lot. So instead I wrote about it.
Mm-mm. And when she wrote about it, did you know about the writing? You know, obviously she had a diary or something where she wrote it in. Did you ever come across it or only later on? How did you find out about this?
Immediately when she actually wrote the poem, she came to show me, and my initial reaction was, where did you Google this? Where did you find this? And then she said to me, she wrote it, and I was like, are you serious? And then she's like, yes, I did write it, mommy. And then I was like, this is very well written. But it was just a poem to express her feelings about my mom. So it was like, okay, fine. But then she wrote the second poem called Silence. And then it was so well written. I mean, I love reading, and the way she wrote the poem, I was like, Leila, do you know that you can actually write? And then she was like, she didn't know, but I mean, basically, so when I found out she could write, I was like, is this something that you're interested in, and etc.? Because then I started showing people her poetry, and I was like, don't you think this is good or whatever? Because, you know, as a parent, you're very biased. Your children, like anything your child does is like awesome in your eyes.
Yeah.
But everyone had basically the same opinion that her poetry is very good. And then I started thinking, like, you know, let's go to like some book show, like, you know, some book fairs and etc. just to get the exposure. Not exposure. What I wanted to do was actually wanted to go to a book fair, speak to some authors and etc. to just find out whether or not they think her writing is okay, and should I get her into writing classes. That was the initial like what I wanted to. I thought she needed to go for writing classes. And I met the current publisher now, Harold in from the Shinda Publications, and the phone call went more like, let's get her published. I was like, oh no, she must go for writing classes. Because that's what I was expecting, like for them to advise where she can go for writing classes. Because I knew she had talent. I just didn't like, she's 12.
Yeah.
Like
12 years old, yeah. and I think that the main thing here is that, you know, you didn't know where to start. You didn't know what to do because, yes, we buy books, we read books, but the process is difficult. You know, how did it work for you guys? Many people ask me this question, where do you start? When do you start? How do you start? Maybe I'll start with you and then I'll come over to your mom. How did you start? And, you know, yes, you spoke about your journey. You were at your grandmother's memorial. But did you just go home afterwards and just your emotions come up and you just wrote? And how did you continue growing this? Because obviously you had to nurture this love that you have for like writing.
Well, so when I write, I just write because sometimes I just think like it just comes suddenly that I just have that feeling I wanna write. So when I wrote Depression, I realized how depression is taken too lightly, and that nobody really takes note. They take note of it, but they don't really take it seriously. So then I just started writing about it.
So now you're using your gift to talk about other things as well, like depression. You're using poetry to talk about what is also bothering the teenagers. And how is that going for you? Because a lot of people don't talk about deep oppression. Young people are, just keeping quiet, and they go through trauma. When you think about depression, what goes through your mind? Have you had a friend? Because obviously you had to pick it up somewhere, and that is where the topic came from.
Well, I wrote about it because at the moment of time I actually was a bit depressed because my friends were a bit, and I was getting bullied a lot.
Okay.
And my friends were mistreating me and just leaving me alone. And at a certain point, I was too scared to speak, so I would just stand there being quiet.
Okay. Karen, there is something that I've picked up with myself as well as a father. At school, children, their friends. Bullying is quite big.
It is. Yes.
And we don't talk about it because remember when we grew up, it is okay. You can get over it. As a mother, we will come back to the book, but I see a lot of you being active in her life. I think it's very important. And the fact that you have that freedom to speak around you and also write in poetry. How do you handle this? How do you advise her on things like that? Because there's a mommy out there that is watching this that might also go through the same thing where, her child is also going through the situation at school.
Like myself and Leila, we have conversations till late at night. Sometimes, because especially when Leila is going through something, then we unpack it. We speak about it. I let her talk about it. I let her explain to me the incidents. Let's unpack the whole thing. Where does it come from? Where does it stem from? So, and a lot of times, we'll especially with the bullying, where, say for instance, when she was getting bullied, my first reaction was, I'm angry because, as a parent, you're angry when you find out your child is getting bullied. You feel angry and you feel sad. You feel like, why my child, and etc. What is my child doing wrong, and etc. So that is one of the things you feel. But then, immediately after you find out what is going wrong, myself and Leila. So in Leila's case, what I did was addressed it with the school. I said to them, just please be aware of what is happening and etc. because this is what's happening in Leila's side is making her very depressed because it's affecting her schooling. She doesn't want to go to school because of the things that's going on at school. And the next thing I did was we went to go see a therapist because I said to her, sometimes, me and you speak, but then it doesn't always help. And this is not always something that's available to everyone. But luckily for me, I had I have a company that's very supportive, and they basically allow us to go see to see a therapist and etc. So she went to go see a child psychologist actually. So she went to go speak. I said to her, sometimes it's so nice just to unpack.
That's right.
Exactly. And it doesn't need to be a therapist. Sometimes you just need to listen to the person because sometimes listening to them just helps.
That's right.
And sometimes when they're talking, they realize actually where or what is the problem or what is the issue. But it depends on the person because sometimes I let Leila make decisions for herself in the sense because she grew up basically believing that you're a person, you are individual. Yes, you are a child, but you're also a person, you're individual. So I'm giving you let us talk about what is the issue. So say for instance, friends bullied her, whatever the case, what do you think you should do? Yeah. And then you need to make new friends. You need to be a little bit more, I'm not saying the problem is you maybe, but maybe change the way, you do certain things and whatever the case might be. I'm not saying there's an issue with, there's anything wrong that you do, but you don't need to be friends with these children. No. It's going to be difficult to sit on your own for the time being, but eventually it's going to be fine. Keep yourself occupied, write, draw, do anything at school, but you don't need to be in that environment. Right. You have a choice. Yeah, and like you nicely said now, she has got the gift. She's still going to go places. We believe that and we talk that into existence. And how do you feel after you write? Do you feel better? Do you feel, okay, this was bothering me and I wrote about it. I feel a little bit better. Is there a bit of a emotional relief when you write?
Yes, I write when I have very strong emotions so that I can just let the feelings out. Instead of just speaking about it, I like writing about it.
And what do you do? Like, I know sometimes when I write, then I can't write. Like now, I can't write. I'm thinking about stories, but I can't find the right stories. What do you do if you have that bit of that lazy days, man? I listen to music. I walk with my dogs, and then all that comes back. That works for me. What works for you?
I just listen to music.
You listen
as
to
well.
music.
I love music.
And what is your favorite artist? Who do you listen to? Justin Bieber?
No.
Or is that?
Leila's an old soul. She listens to classical music.
Okay.
I like Beyonce.
Okay.
But she listens to the violin and stuff like that.
Okay.
So 60s music I didn't even hear about.
Mm-mm. So she likes vintage music.
Yes.
Vintage music. Okay.
But I also like classic now and stuff.
And does that inspire you to write when you sit with your headphones on, or when you just listen to music? That emotions builds up, and you just take your pen in your or your phone and you start writing.
Yes, it does help a lot.
Mm-mm.
Because as you're listening, you just feel calm and relieved, and the words just start flowing.
And you just start writing.
Yes.
Okay. Where do Leila see herself in the next 5 years' time? Is it too soon to ask that question? But where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? In 5 years' time, you will be 18 years old. Where do you see yourself? How many books? What do you want to accomplish in the next 5 years' time?
Well, in the next 5 years, I actually see myself by about a couple books out, because I plan on writing a book every year.
Okay.
I've already started with my second book.
Nice.
But in 5 years, I see myself passing school, going to college, and I just seem like my normal self, just having friends, being responsible.
Awesome. So you're just you just want to be successful. That is all. You work hard. I think to work hard, to write your books, to finish school, and to go and study. That is what you want to accomplish in the next 5 years' time.
Yes.
Okay. And no boyfriends. No boyfriends.
No boyfriends.
I told my daughter, actually, I said to her the other day, you can't have a boyfriend now. You must first finish university. She's 16 years old. So I look at the young people. I said, okay, you can only have a boyfriend when you are done with school. So I don't know how you feel about that.
She's got the same rule as well. I said to her, the thing is, I don't like. I'm not very. I'm not gonna say I'm not strict, but she does have a rule that says you can't have a boyfriend until you matric. You completed your matric, and then you need to focus on studying as well, because she wants to become a child psychologist.
Wow.
But she's a person, and you know what? Now people make mistakes and things happen and stuff like that. So, and she's at that age, and children are at that age where they go to high school, they find a boy that they like or a girl that they like, because I'm not. Her preference.
Yeah,
I'm not going to judge whatever she decides to do one day. But it's going to happen that she's going to like a boy. I can't stop it.
You can't stop it, you're right.
But the thing that I can do is give you advice as to how, don't hide it. Don't lie to me about it. If you want to do this, then be responsible about it. Because a lot of children, they get the boyfriend and then all of a sudden they forget about the things that they wanted to do, or the dreams they had, and then obviously the other stuff comes into the picture, and then I'm not going to mention the other stuff.
Leila, I want to ask you to read one of your poems for us, and then you just share with him. And while you're doing that, while you're preparing yourself, I want to ask your mom. Are we going to do it now and later on again? How can people get in contact with you for Leila's book? Because they need to buy a book, they need to support her. Do they contact you? Is the book in the bookshops? How do we go about this?
So our book is available on Amazon, but the Kindle version only. And you can get the hard copy through myself. My contact number is 060-741-5437. My email is klahadden, HADDON, @gmail.com. Or you can follow Leila on TikTok, which is at Poems by Leila. And then also she's got a Facebook handle, which is called, a Facebook page, which is called Young Mind Unspoken Thoughts. But that is how you can get the book. So. Okay.
I'm going to give over to her to do a poem first. You can assist her. And then... And you ladies and gentlemen can listen to Leila. You need to buy a book. You need to support her. It's her first book, and there's many more to come.
Oh, sorry, no, I wanted to read this poem because it's very nice.
Okay. Amma says nice, so she must read it.
Will I start?
You can start.
Okay.
You can start.
When you look on social media, you see models, women with thin waist and hollow eyes, men with perfect smiles and faces. You see them and want to be them. You starve yourselves, hiding the flaws that hide underneath the full face of makeup. You try to be the prettiest in the room, but when another is prettier than you feel insecure, thinking you look ugly, wishing you could look like them. You start changing yourself, your ways. You take a little girl or boy that once controlled your inner mind and turn them into an insecure teenager, wanting to be more, wanting to be beautiful, but not inside. You only care about what people see. You tell yourself that you're ugly, even though it is not true. You say it so much that your heart starts believing it. You hide your beautiful soul with lies, seeking perfection. What's crazy, the expectations is not from others, but from you. You shouldn't focus on your looks. Focus on your mental health. Focus on you. Stop thinking about how fat or thin you are. Concerned if you are pretty. Because at the end of the day, what matters is you. Don't let others or images control you. Look in the mirror. See what's inside. What's always been there, the most beautiful person in the world. The person looking back is saying, you are unique, you are enough, you are you.
Awesome. This poem, I'm just listening to it. Obviously, the rules of society has changed, where you need to look a certain way, you need to speak a certain way, you need to walk a certain way. And I think that is also what adds to our depression. I mean, I know we as men, I don't know about mental, but we as men, we feel depressed sometimes because of social media, because of what people say. And I think this describes it very nice, because you need to look a certain way. Men needs to talk a certain way, needs to drive a certain car. What inspired you to write this specific poem?
Because this is something that is very common. Mm-hmm. It's like I've heard this one teacher of mine saying that people are dramatic when it comes to how you look. That you shouldn't just always think you ugly. Just kept on saying stuff, and but then I heard him always targeting about not just the boys. He said it, especially the girls, which I thought was unfair, because boys also go through that, and not just the girls. Boys also go through things that boys have hard as well, not just women. And in this century, that is something that is not very well known. Is something that happens very common.
Karen, you said that you read a lot. Now, obviously, they can die van jou gekry. Oh, would you say that? Because obviously, you read a lot. Did you ever expect that your own child will be an author? Because the first thing, you have been reading for many years. Yes, somebody that is very close to you, near to you, starts writing. Did you know this was going to happen 7 years ago, 6 years ago, or did it surprise you?
It surprised me, actually. I wouldn't say in the sense that I don't think Leila's capable of doing wonderful things, but it did surprise me because years ago, if you had told me that when Leila was 5, 6 years old, that Leila was going to write a book at the age of 12, I would have said, no, that child doesn't even have to force her to go to the library. She didn't actually like going to, reading that much back then. But she started learning to love it, because I said to her, you just need to find the book that's right, going to make you love reading. And I said to her, it's not just about reading, it's about actually, it helps you with your writing skills, it helps you with your spelling, it helps you learn how to do those things properly. Because sometimes at school, there's a lot of children in class, and spelling is, I'm not going to say, but it's not being focused on. Yeah. And spelling is quite important still. You need to have to spell, and reading actually helps you with that. So I didn't know, she started showing potential for writing, and not for writing, but the way she would tell a story. Or the way, if you read something to her, the way she would interpret it. So it was like maybe the potential was there. And yeah, that's just like when she wrote poetry, it was fully there. So,
and you're so right. It makes it easier for the youngsters, when they write their own books and their own stories to sort of know the grammar and so on. Now, I was a very naughty child. I failed twice at school. So myself and Nendel were in the same class. So the thing is this: I've learned over the years what I've learned. I've taught myself. And that's why I'm very much keen on, our youngsters must go to the library. In many areas, the libraries have become like a white elephant. Nobody goes there anymore. And I think I agree to what you're saying. If I can go back, if I can become a better reader, if I can go back to being your age, I would have exactly started now, because I didn't want to do it.
Just because you read doesn't make you a writer, I wish.
It doesn't make you a writer, but it makes you makes you more. It opens up your mind. Like when you work in the office, you become a better. If you're a secretary, words. If you're an IT, there's certain things that you can use from reading.
No, I'm not saying that you can't. Reading actually, it helps with your spelling. It helps you understand stuff that you wouldn't normally understand, because you know what? Now, sometimes you take this for instance. Take a romance book. You think to yourself, what you going to learn with a romance book, right? But there is so many things you can learn Old English in romance books. You can learn about different cultures in a romance book. Right. You don't realize by reading a romance book that you could learn these things from it. You learn a lot of things from it, from all these stories that you write, and that is how you start accumulating knowledge as well, because of snippets of stuff that you remember from what you read. So I'm not saying you're not going to be like, you can read, but read for the love of reading.
That is, I agree with you, because you can't just read because you want to read. You must love reading. You must like what you're doing. So I know you like your favorite author. You've mentioned earlier on. What is your favorite type of books? Is it fiction, non-fiction? Is it romance? Is it,
I do love autobiographies. I do, but I was telling you earlier, I fell in love with reading with Shelley Davidow, South African writer, when I was like 11, 12 years old. And she wrote about her life in Cape Town, and it was a beautiful book. And I just fell in love with reading. Then that book was it for me. But I read autobiographies, I read science fiction, I read romance, I read thrillers. I like reading about law as well, and I don't. You know what? No, I actually don't have a genre.
Okay, you like everything.
I read anything. Because you can learn a lot of things from it. I don't read self-help. I should.
Leila, and you, what is your favorite type of books that you read? If you go to the library or if you must purchase a book, what is it that you would like to read?
Well, I like diary entries. I don't know if it's a genre, but ones where they act like they're actually talking to you. That's one of my favorite. There's one book I really like called Dog Diaries.
Dog Diaries, okay.
I love that book. I will read it over and over again. I just like drama.
You just she likes drama. And you know what? Are you ever thinking you're writing poetry now? Do you ever see yourself in writing stories like fiction?
Yes, I do.
So on? You do. Have you ever attempted to write a short story?
Yes, I've wrote many short stories, but they all kind of sound a bit depressed.
Not depressed, it just goes dark very quickly.
I think, my daughter, she also writes, and she likes this, what is this, Harry Potter type of books, sci-fi. So I think that is maybe where you might maybe be interested in. So look at that, explore it. But I think you should, like I said, I write fiction. I'm going to attempt my first non-fiction book now. So you need to also, we need to get out of our comfort zones and try something new. And maybe, something else might just come up and you might just become the next best, Dion Mayer or whoever, because writers do make a lot of money. I never knew this. There is writers in South Africa that makes a lot of money. But I don't know why we're not making money. But this is where I want to come to. And okay, it's not about the money, but I also feel we need to support our people. We need to support our own. I think that is an area that we need to focus on as people of the Cape Flats. We need to buy our people's books. So how do you feel about that? How has it been going for you the last couple of months since the book launch?
So, like I said, like Leila's book launch was in January. I did sell quite a few copies in the beginning. Mostly people are like, family and friends and etc. You know what? No, it would be much easier if you could sell your book within, like, in Mitchell's Plain or in your community, and whatever the case. And we actually did like not a book fair. We actually went to a fair, one of like what you would see going to like Milnerton or to Muizenberg. But I think it's because it was the first fair that was held in Mitchell's Plain, like in that kind of environment, like a market. And I think what basically needs to happen is people need to be more aware of it, and people need to start supporting. I'm not saying Muizenberg and don't go to Milnerton, but I'm saying we need to support our own. People that not just selling books, but support our own community and etc. Start at home, like don't make it's like we're making like. It's like South Africa, like make other countries rich.
That's true.
Basically, it's like we have diamonds. Now we send it that side. So they cut it and whatever, and then we buy it at twice the value.
And you are so right, because the thing is this: if we support our own people, it's quite expensive to write a book. It's a lot. I don't think people understand what goes into writing a book and all the cost and everything involved. And I always get people. There was this guy that asked me, "Can't I read your book over 3 days and I'll bring it back to you?" I was looking at him, and he was a pastor, so I didn't want to say anything. So I said, "No, sir, unfortunately." And people think, but you want to be quiet. It's not that you want to be quiet. Leila took her time to put this book, to write this poetry. It's a part of her. It's a part of who she is. And I think we need to understand, also the costing that goes into it. Het is niet cheap om een boek te schrijven en te release. So people need to understand that. So I don't want to go into that side as too much, but I want to say to the viewers out there, if you guys can, and you guys must support her. Our mother will say the details now again. But I want to ask Leila, if there's anything that you want to add, is there another poetry that you want to read? Because I want them to you need to feed some more in our communities. People need to call you up more, because you know what? I've seen many people start writing, but because of the support, we don't support. People write for the bigger houses, for the bigger publishing houses. And as myself and you were speaking earlier on, the bigger publishing houses just make money of us. We want to tell our own story. We want to share our own poetry. There's only we know how to write our stories, and for that reason, our people need to keep this thing alive. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add, or read another poetry, and then we can give the details again.
Oh, can I read this one poem?
Yeah, you can read.
This is my favorite poem. This one is called Cut.
Oh yeah.
This one is called Cut. I like this one a lot. Sorry, I'm looking for the
page.
Here's it. Sorry. This poem is called Cut. Sometimes I feel so trapped, like a fool in life. I cry myself to sleep, and yet the same perfectly fine. I know I need help, but too scared to ask. I want to be left alone, but feel lonely alone. I crave validation, but when there is none, I sink like a worm. Forever stopped, frozen in time. So dull inside, too weak to move. I'm screaming and screaming, and yet I hear not a sound. I feel so alone. Why can I not be like everyone else? If I am not thin, I am fat, and if I am not fat, I'm too thin. Forever judged like a criminal in time. Lucky is all, but unlucky me. Why do I get bothered with words? Why don't I have the same taste as all? They say being different is better, but it feels more like hell. Leave me alone, but don't leave me at all. Can't think my mind too scared to speak. I am not depressed at all, simply sad. Can't see the good, but don't want to see the bad. Wondering why, I feel so alone. It scares me inside. I try to do my best all the time, but it's never enough. Can't think who I am. Don't want to live. So I cut and cut until everything is dull. I know I should stop, but it feels so good. I hear a voice telling me to stop. I try to listen, but so much blood, it can't seem to stop. If this is the end, I'm alone, I'm all alone. Why did I do this? My eyelids shut. I see a light, doctor, hospital flash. I'm smiling, I don't know why. I thought I wanted to die, but I think a part of me wanted to live. I look around, I see a man. He tells me my worth. Then he's gone. I feel it, it touched my soul. A second chance, a gift. To be me. Yes, I get sad and depressed sessions, but I get through it. I'm leaving my doubts, finally feel like a bird. I might not be the most perfect person in the world, but I'm perfectly happy with it. I am me and I'm not afraid anymore. I'm not cutting, I'm not bleeding, I'm not taking my life. I am a survivor. I'm getting better slowly, but slow is good. I will take my time. I have my life, so what's a little time?
Wow. It's very deep. Poetry is very, very, very deep.
That 12.
It actually, I would have expected somebody more older to write such deep things. So your emotions is coming out strong. I can feel it. And because I do work with a lot of youngsters, a lot of people do cut themselves. A lot of people do. Depression is real. It's a topic that our people don't want to listen to because we're not supposed to be depressed in our community.
I was going to say something which is totally, you should, because you know what now, when they would say like, it's not a colored person's problem.
Yes.
Coloreds don't get depressed.
Yeah, no, we don't get depressed.
We can't afford therapists or doctors.
Yes,
no,
yes.
Not something we do.
And I have to admire you as a mom because you mentioned earlier on you took her to see someone because you spoke, right? But there was things that you couldn't, that wouldn't work as better as to see somebody else, a professional. So I have to commend you for that because ons is 'n bietjie skaam as dit kom by daai. Ons wil nie vir die mense sê maar ons gaan soontoe nie. I think that
stigma attached.
Stigma.
There shouldn't be any stigma attached. Because if you need help, you need help.
That's
Simple
right.
as that.
And you need to speak out. You need to talk to someone. You know. Tell me quickly. If there's a mom out there and there's a daughter out there, and I want to hear it from you guys, going through the difficult time, we also the other thing is this: our people don't have money. We've established that, so we can still take our children to a psychologist or wherever. But if there's a mom out there going through the same as what you guys are going through or went through, what would your advice be to that mom?
Listen very carefully. And like sometimes your kids don't always want to tell you when things are going wrong. So take note of the little things that they are doing, out of character things that they are doing. Like so I can pick up when something's wrong with Leila. Like I will ask her, your kids every day, how was school? That I make a point to ask my kids every day. I'm not saying that, do that. But I mean, this is how you pick up on when there's a change in your child's behavior. Yeah. It's by asking the simple things every day. How was your day at school? Tell me how it was. What did you and your friends do? I get involved. And it starts from there. It's building that relationship so that you can actually, when something does happen, your child comes to you first. Right. Because a lot of times children go to their friends. And I said to Leila so many times, please promise me. I don't care how bad the thing is that you've done. Tell me, I'll be angry for 5 minutes. Yeah. But I'm going to be the first person. I'm going to be the only person that wants to help you properly. Because your friends give you the worst. I'm not saying but they do. I was a teenager. I caught on nonsense. And you know what? Your friends give you the worst advice ever. So don't, if something's wrong, come to me first, speak to me. And as a parent to tell to another parent, you know what? Like I said, listen to your kids and stuff like that. If you can't afford a therapist or you know what, then talk about it openly so you can try to figure out because this thing, what your child wants to do is for you to listen so they can unpack everything.
That's right.
And then from there you can actually determine, do you need to sit to school? Do you need to speak to your child whether or not they need to or like, like try to get your child to have, maybe if it's a what's the word now I'm looking for, when it's a self-confidence issue, what can I do to help my child's self-confidence?
Yeah.
If I don't know something, I go Google it. If it's not at my disposal, then I'll go find out how do I go about doing the
That's
certain
right.
thing. I chose therapy because, you know what, now, even though she spoke to me and stuff like that, I wanted her to see that someone else thinks the same as me, which is like, there's nothing wrong with you, baby.
Yes.
It's not you that's the problem. It's the way society
That's
is.
the way.
So sometimes it does take someone else sometimes just to point out the same thing, but
Yeah.
then they wake up and realize it's the same thing. But listen to your kids, and just like if they are going through stuff, don't just push it to one side. Don't do that, because you know what? No, you never know how it's going to end up. It can end up in cutting your child taking the wrong direction in life. Those things matter. Like for me, I would freak out if I had to miss something like this in my kid's life.
Yeah. And what you say, we need to normalize speaking out.
We need to open conversation.
We need to, En like you say, jy weet hoe ons opgegroeid as sê jou maar, jy gaan slaap, kinders kan nie met groot mense gepraat het nie. And we need to sort of break away from that. That has been going on for many years, and that's why we have this issue. Why people become suicidal? They become gangsters. They don't want to live anymore. So our young boys and some of young girls do join gangs because they are suicidal. But I think how you have said it now is that we need to listen to our kids. We need to put belangstel. If my child have something, then they must feel comfortable to come and talk to me. So I think that is what we need to take out of this whole lesson. But over to you, Leila, what would you say if a 12-year-old girl or a 13-year-old girl have issues?
I would tell them to go tell somebody, not your friends, because like my mommy says, friends don't always give the best advice. Go to an adult. If you're not comfortable with your parents, or if your parents are like if they are the cause of your problem, you go to somebody, like call Childline, go talk to a teacher, go talk to your auntie, your siblings if you have siblings. Just go talk to somebody.
That you can trust.
Yes, that you can trust.
Awesome. Anything else you ladies want to say? Thank you so much. Your artwork is brilliant. People must buy it. Before we end, you just need to give your details again. But is there anything else that you feel that people must know? Anything you want to talk about? We still have 2 or 3 minutes left.
I was just going to add on to that thing when you said about the advice. Your kid is actually individual. It's just because it's your child does not make, you need to explain, you need to talk properly. It's a person.
That's right.
You should stop treating it as like you the child, you shall listen. That attitude really is one of the things that need to go, because they are people, they can understand us, and once they understand us, you can have that conversation, because that's how she was brought up. We have that kind of conversations, yes.
And I like what you said earlier on. Your younger daughter was also here, and you're already telling her, "Don't worry, we're going to work on this for you." But I think you have put it very nicely. Each child has a personality of their own. We just need to nurture them, and we just need to guide them this way, not that way. I mean, like you mentioned, we all were teenagers. Ons was stout geweest, But from that, we've learned. And with that knowledge and that wisdom, we can guide our children.
Not to make the same mistakes.
That is exactly. We want to keep them from doing the wrong, making the wrong decisions. When it comes to decisions, do you guys, if there's certain things certain decisions that she has to make, do she come to you? Do she feel comfortable?
Yes, I do.
Do
I
you
feel very comfortable with my mother. My
Wow.
mom is like my best friend.
Awesome. So you feel that, as this young 13-year-old girl, I can go to my mother. You have friends, like you've mentioned, but like your mother also said, I've listened now to you guys. Our friends, they don't always have our interest at heart. Or they don't always have the knowledge, But you feel that the circle of friends that you have, do you feel that they have the same relationship as you and your mother? Do they also talk to the friends, or do you feel that, there is something that is missing? And before I'm going to allow you to speak, many of our parents and our friends' parents don't tell them that they love them. They don't care. How do you feel about this? Do you and the mother, I can obviously hear, she tells you that she loves you and you do the same. Do you feel that amongst your friends that isn't there?
Yes, because my friend group, especially not like there's hundreds of friend groups,
Yeah.
but in my friend group, well, I have a new friend group.
Mm-mm.
Yes, I feel like we do give that because we used, even in my old friend group, we used to tell each other we loved each other and that we're best friends and our life would be empty without each other. But then things happened and then we separated. Because in reality, no friend group is gonna last on primary school, especially.
You're right. In seriously right, because I said to my son the other day that sometimes you don't have to be with your friends. If they tease you, if they go on with you, then you don't have to. And I think that is what we need to teach our children. It's not that you're running away, it's not that you're afraid, it's just that I don't have to listen, because our kids come from different environments. The one house is not the same as the other house. So the kids see what the parents are doing, or they sponge from the negativity, and sometimes they bring that toxicity into our children's life. So I think it's very important for kids to know, and you are right, there's nothing wrong if the friend circle don't work for you, you move on.
Draw the line.
Because ons bly daar so and we're unhappy. It's like in an abusive relationship. We stay there and they abuse us. So I think you've taught her very well. And I want to say congratulations to you. I'm looking forward to the next books coming. I'm looking forward to reading your poetry, seeing you on TV, and being out there. So life is the sky is the limit, as they would say. Anything you guys want to add? And then
Can I just just say something that I know your platform gets the ear and the eyes of very influential people within politics and business as well. A lot of us are worried about youth and the state of the youth today. I want to urge anybody that's in a political party or that's watching this or that has influence. Support people and support people like this.
That's right.
Support the youth that's trying to do something like this. Now you have the person in front of you. There she is. You have a mother as well. So now you know who to support.
That's right.
And back that. And I promise you, if we keep on just back that, the rest will alleviate itself. Okay, we obviously need interventions in that regard, but a start would be just to support what you are being shown.
That's right.
It's really only so difficult.
No, it is. But you've actually opened up something now. This book is supposed to be in the school. And I want to say that I know a lot
We've donated a couple of schools, but I mean,
they must buy your books. They mustn't. This is the thing. I know it's this difficult, but I want to read Leila's book. I don't want to read people's books that I don't know. Leila is from Mitchell's Plain. That book should actually be her book for the year in the class. So I know, like he said, there's a lot of influential people watching us. They do come in for interviews as well. If the mayor is watching, JP Smith, if you're watching, Faiz Jacobs, if you guys are watching, all my friends that are in politics and in decision-making roles, you guys need to get hold of Leila's book, and this book needs to be in the school. I know also that Patricia van der Ros, that is also very influential, to please make contact with you. Give them the number because they must contact you.
Sounds straight. It's 060-741,
Okay. Karen, or you can get a number from myself. You wanted to say something?
No.
Okay.
Fine.
And you guys can contact me as well. I put you in contact with Karen. But it's true, man. Why must we struggle? Support Leila. Make this journey for her easy. Just buy a book and support her. That will make the journey easy for her. Then she can do the next book. Okay. So, guys and ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Karen and Leila, thank you for being here. Nanto, thank you for saying he normally keeps quiet. So thank you, Nanto, for speaking up.
And I had to say that that was the perfect opportunity.
That was.
To just to let them know.
Thank you so much, because it's all about supporting local. It's all about, we can't say local is liquor if we don't support liquor.
And-
So, yeah.
And I was going to say, and the one thing that she's saving for, she's not saving like people assume that because she's selling books and whatever, she's not saving for nonsense. Leila's saving for her next publication. She's
Yes.
we're saving for a laptop or something that she can stop writing on her phone because her phone
my
is,
phone deletes stuff.
her
Yeah.
phone
and
is
it's
deleting
irritating.
her stuff
Yeah.
now. So I don't know what's wrong with the phone, but I mean she's saving for stuff that is like, you know what, no, 12-year-olds want to
Yeah.
catch on nonsense.
Yes.
No, I've got a responsible 12-year-old that wants.
To do something.
No, she wants to make sure that, you know what, no, she's got an opportunity or
Yeah.
a future ahead of
Yeah,
her.
yeah. She needs a laptop. So give her a laptop. Anybody out there, she will put your name in a book. Support her. I know it's difficult. I know self-publishing is ambitious. You know what?
I don't warn you.
They want to borrow your book and read your book, finish and give it back to you. So please support Leila. Support her mother. And guys, you don't have to worry. Whatever you buy, it goes into her pocket. It makes her life easier. That's also how we create wealth. We need to create wealth by supporting our youth so that she can go to university, that there's money for university. She's starting at a very young age, so it's up to us to make sure that we support her. If we don't support her, and also those that are following me that are broadcasters, call her in, have an interview. Let us make her famous. Let more people see her, so that our books can be out there and that she can sell thousands of copies. Let it become a bestseller. So I do ask and I do plead each and everybody watching this broadcast tonight to support Leila and her mom. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming in, Leila. I love the book. I must get a copy. And then also thank you to my friend over there.
Thank you very much.
And yeah,
Thank you.
thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Please do share this broadcast. If you want to contribute, if you don't have money, share this broadcast. Share it with somebody. Tag somebody that you think that can benefit from this and that can support her. We're building better futures. We are supporting our young people, but we can't support our young people if we don't, buy into their dreams. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. This is your uncle, Stanley Jacobs from Cape Flats Stories. Cheers.